Hi everybody.
Hi. Welcome to our channel, Our Anxiety Life.
Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Karina.
And today we decided that we were just going to sit here and talk about things. The discussion today is going to be our first experience with anxiety, because I think that's something really, really big, is the communication between two people when anxiety comes into your life. Not just the person having it, but the person that you love having it, you know, and the different perspectives of it. We want to say, going forward, we're not doctors.
No doctors.
No doctors. But the thing that we think is important, we've learned over our 25 years, is that communication. You know, we're trying to give you an avenue where you can go to someone you love, you can go to someone you trust and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. How can it help you? Things like that. If you are in a really bad place, please contact a doctor. Get some professional help. This is just to give you an option. And what we think is very important, our option is to spur communication. It may or may not be for you. Your way, you might have a different path to doing it, and that's fine. But the big deal is we want you to take some sort of action to get yourself better, to communicate better with the person that you love, to not feel the guilt of the anxiety, to not feel the desperation if you're in love with someone and not know what to do, because this is a total foreign thing to you. Decided to sit at the kitchen table today, and probably will do going forward, because it represents a thing of we all live busy lives, and we sometimes we don't want to share all our problems, even with the person that we love. But even though we have busy lives, there's always some sort of time where you can bring up the subject. Maybe, you know, when you're eating, maybe you don't sit at a kitchen table, maybe you're on the couch, maybe you're going out to eat, maybe it's whatever, but there is a certain segment of time where you can decide, I want to share exactly how I'm feeling, and not just how the person's feeling with anxiety, but how the person in the relationship with someone with anxiety is feeling. And then go on from there to feel, how can we go on this path to make everything better? And it is a journey, it is a progression. It's not just a thing going forward that you'll learn. It's not just as simple as, I have a headache, I'm going to take an aspirin and water and sit down and chill and I'll be fine. That's not how it works. That's not anxiety. Once you're living with it, it can creep up at any point. And it's having a set of tools that you can utilize that can help you, that you know, okay, this is what's happening, this is what we can do to get ourselves better. So that's why we're sitting at the kitchen table, just for communication. So please, whatever you're doing, after you watch this video, if you know someone in your life that you don't know how to communicate with, you know, hopefully with this video and the videos going forward, you'll feel more comfortable, you know, having a conversation, being honest, not feeling the guilt of it, you know, and make yourself better and improve your life. So today, we're going to talk about our first real bout with anxiety, the first big event that really grabbed hold of us and started us on this journey of how to deal with anxiety. It started what I thought it started at, and it's different, and that's the big thing about communication, because I think it starts at a certain point, but Karina had been dealing, and she'll talk to you about it here in a moment, been dealing with it for a long time and been keeping it to herself. We had a thing where we were trying to make some extra money, and I had seen a thing back in the day, old-timey, when people used to buy newspapers. It was a thing of, hey, if you sold these newspaper subscriptions in this store, you got, I don't know, $20, $30, whatever it was. So I was like, hey, if we do that, you know, it would be a thing of, we had a lot of downtime, let's just try it out, we could put it all in our vacation fund and go somewhere. It seemed like a great idea. So I left her at one store, and I went to another store, and wow, I just thought about this, but it was so long ago, we didn't have cellular technology. So I was like, hey, you know, back then when pagers and things like that, but yeah.
We didn't even have pagers.
Yeah, we didn't have a pager.
I
wasn't cool enough to be a pager or anything like that, but it was just like, okay, I'm leaving at 4, I'm gonna be here at 8, and that's just the way it was, you know, I'm gonna come pick you up. We didn't text each other and that's how long ago it was, back with, you know, the old push button phones. But, you know, it was at 4, I dropped her off, I go do my thing, had a relatively good day, I'm gonna go back, pick her up, And she was sitting on, all the things on there, she was sitting outside. And I was like, my gosh, somebody kicked you out of the store? I mean, we had a thing for it and things like that. And I asked her, I was like, hey, what happened? What's going on? And do you remember what you said?
I'm sure I was panicking. No, I don't remember.
She was panicking. And that was one of the first things that I have the anxiety is, and this is the big thing about being in a relationship, is different ways people communicate. I am an information person. I like to know every single thing in explicit, minute detail. And if you want to, write me out a report, great. I'll read it, because that's the kind of details that I need. But what I've learned going forward, and not everybody's anxiety is the same, but I'm assuming most people I've ever had with anxiety is the same thing, is that they don't want to be questioned right then. I want to know, why are you sitting on the side of the road? Why is it there? Why was this here? And she's looking at me with big eyes and just kind of giving real clipped 1- and 2-word responses. And I really didn't understand that. I figured, well, she just didn't have success and didn't want to do it. I never had really dealt with anxiety, so I didn't know really what it was. You remember anything about that day?
I remember, like, when you're in the depths of, like, an anxiety attack, he is a very informational person, so when you're absolutely to your freak out mode and you're just flipping out, someone comes up to you and says, what's wrong? You're like, nothing, okay, what can I do? Go away is what you're thinking in your head, go away. But then you have someone who's continuously asking questions. Sometimes to help someone that has anxiety is just to be there. Just to be there, to rub their head, or to go get their ice pack to put on the back of their neck, or anything. I'm legitimately, in the very beginning of my anxiety, the one thing that helped me, I say person, that helped me the most was my dog. My dog helped me the most because he didn't ask me questions. He laid there and snuggled with me, and while I cried and freaked out, and that was the most help. So being a human being and not a dog, we tend to want to ask questions. We don't need to ask 20 questions when someone's going through this. You just sit back and just help them through it. Maybe go for a walk with them, do whatever you can. But most people don't want to sit down and tell you all the horrible things that are going through their mind.
Yeah, and that's one thing we're writing like an ebook course about things that, because we've always found that even if you're anxious right then and like the big event is happening right then, eventually the event lessens and she's able to communicate a little bit. But that's why I'm writing the ebook, in the fact of you can communicate what does she need and what do I need, because I know she's frustrated that I'm asking questions, but especially in the beginning I was equally as frustrated because I need information, and when I'm asking you, hey, what's wrong? How can I fix it? Things like that. Even though I may not be able to fix it right then, it's equally as frustrating to me because I have no perspective of where she's going. Now I do. We've been through a lot together, and that's the reason why we're going through made this channel. So going forward, it will probably be out here in just a few months, and but every week it'll be going forward also. We'll have a new video, and hopefully it'll give you a tool or something else that you can actually, tell someone. Because she didn't tell me this, this happened probably, 2 years after we were married. So we were together about 4 or 5 years before this hit. But she had told me a couple days after that, she's like, in her bed with her puppy, things like that. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's sick or has the flu, or I have no context of what could be going on.
Which is a lot of times what people say. It's not, they don't say I'm having an anxiety attack. It's usually like to your family and your friends, I'm sick.
Yeah, I don't feel well.
Because that's the only thing that people understand. They don't understand anything else when you say I'm having an anxiety attack, I'm sweating, I'm this, I'm that. They just can't comprehend. It's like, just get over it. No, you don't just get over it. There's an issue. So you don't have that argument, I'm sick. And then, you have your family and your friends that are like, well, she's always sick and she just doesn't want to be with us. No. I mean, I get it. I understand. I've been there. And, some people just aren't going to get it. And it's okay to lie and say that you're sick, even though you are sick, and they just don't understand it.
Yeah. And that's the key thing. I don't know your family, but I'm assuming they're not bad people.
I think you know my family.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the out there. Yeah, I know your family, but most people's families, I may or may not know you guys. But the big thing is, most people are good people. It's just something like, if you don't understand it, it's just like, you know, being calculus, you know, or you know, trigonometry, you know. If you don't understand something, that doesn't make you, you know, a bad or a good person. It's just my point of reference, even, you know, right now, is at a much higher plane than it was when we first got together. When we first got together, I didn't understand it. And going forward with these rest of the videos, you know, it'll flesh out that no, you know, I have no idea what was going on. You know, it's like, okay, she's got a couple days in bed, you know, she'll pop right back up, it'll be fine. And that's what I had, because I have no idea of how to deal with anxiety. I've never, you know, known anybody with anxiety. It's just my expectation was, yeah, she's just going to be up and around here in just a minute, you know, and, you know, we'll just let her rest and, you know, shake it off, which doesn't, you know, it sounds right now, it sounds so ridiculous, but you got also, why you have to respect the person with anxiety, you also have to realize that the person in the relationship with anxiety has no point of reference. So we're really not trying to be a jerk, you know, we're really not trying to be not understanding. It's just something that just makes no sense to us. And that's, you know, going forward, we're going to help you create a dialogue that you can communicate with that person and figure out exactly what we need. Because when we were communicating a couple days later, she was in bed, and I think we were having pizza in bed, and, you know, I just needed, you know, she said, quite ask me questions, and I lasted 48 good hours. I didn't ask you a question, but on the 49th hour, dude, that was it. I had to ask a question. Questions were coming. So my question was, you know, I'm trying to, you know, figure this out, you know, you know, had anything ever like this happen? Have you felt like this before? You know, you never really brought this up. And then you started bringing up different things, you know, growing up. What do you remember what you told me?
That I love when you put me on the spot.
That was one of the things that are good for anxiety.
It's really good for anxiety.
But the big thing was what you passing out, you know, like on your school play and falling off the stage and stuff like that. Those are the things that...
Yeah, I've had several episodes of passing out, and, you know, my hands going numb, or, you know, the sweats that come before you... It's like, you know, you have this tunnel vision that comes through right before an anxiety attack is hitting, and the dread of it. You dread it sometimes so much. That can cause its own anxiety.
So you can feel it like coming on.
100%. You know within a couple of minutes of it coming. Usually, sometimes the day you wake up, it's just you feel like it's gonna be a day. I know it's gonna be one of those days, and that could be just getting in your head. You know, it could be just getting in your head and being like, okay, well, here comes the negativity, and it's gonna be negative the rest of the day. I don't know. I never tried like changing my thought process, because when you're going through the midst of anxiety, changing your thought process is like a no-go. It's just, you just can't change it, because it's already, that snowball has already gone down that hill, and it's going 100 miles an hour, and it's going to run over whoever it wants.
Right, and that's the thing that it's hard, when it starts building up momentum, it's hard to stop it, you know? And if you picture down a mountain, a big snowball, building up momentum and building up size, one person, being the person that's in the relationship, I think I can stop in front of that snowball and go, stop, snowball. Not going to work. Avalanche, down the mountain. Not good. You know, and that's the way it is. But that's just the thing that certain people in different personalities want to do. I want to stop the snowball, and I don't care. I am wearing a Spider-Man shirt. I want to be the superhero. I want to go, bam, stop the snowball, boom, championship, done. That's not how it works. Nope. That's not how any of this works.
Total fail.
Total fail. Total fail. But in my defense, I only tried it 2,000 or 3,000 times. So, yeah, that wasn't bad.
You learned after.
After a while, you learn. But that's the thing about it. I didn't have anybody to say, hey, this is how you deal with it. All right? I know you have the best, most powerful intentions, but this isn't how you deal with it. You know, good on you to always want to step in front of that snowball and stop it. I'm going to stop it this time. I'm going to stop it this time. I'm going to, you know, make her feel better. And it never worked. So until you, as a person with anxiety, can communicate to whoever you're in the relationship with, being, you know, boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, mother, father, brother, whatever you need to communicate, until you communicate in a way that say, you know, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but if you want to help me, this is how you can help me. And that's what going forward we're going to try, because everyone needs help in different ways. Everything works in different ways with people and things like that. And that's what we're trying to do, is just get the dialogue going. And I decide that, okay, she was feeling, she'd got up, she'd taken a shower, which is, you know, as you're with anxiety, that's a good sign. It's a good sign. She took a shower.
I washed a few days.
Yeah. So she took a shower, so I'm like, hey, build on a little momentum. Let's take that snowball, push it down the other side of the mountain, do some positivity here. So let's get out. So I trick her. Like, back in the day, she used to do these things called Mountain Dew freezes. So I was like, hey, let's go out and get a Mountain Dew freeze, you know, drive around a little bit, do something. So I had this thing, and I don't know why, probably because I know how to treat a lady, I decided to do Mountain Dew freeze and go to bingo, because why not?
Bingo's awesome, by the way.
Bingo is awesome, by the way.
Bingo is awesome. I don't care how old you are.
I don't care. Bingo,
you don't have to be 90.
I don't care. I'll gamble on anything. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's my thing. But I was like, hey,
Bingo's awesome.
Let's do Mountain Dew freeze, do some bingo, win some money, do whatever. So we decide to go to Mountain Dew freeze. Things are going great. She's doing her freeze. She's doing this. Going to the bingo hall. She's got her dauber. I'm like, yeah, doing good. Doing good. You're a genius. So then I say, you know, it was all kind of thrown together. Didn't really plan it. So we're gonna get some delicious cuisine at the bingo hall snack bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, real good.
I know.
I'm going up to the, you know, she's sitting there, she's dabbing away, things like that. I'll say, hey, you know, I'm gonna go up to the snack bar. I go up to the snack bar, and, you know, I get what she wants, and I'm coming back, and there's a, you know, we're over here to the right. Well, over the left, I see a little disturbance. You know, a bunch of people are like gathering around, and I'm like, I try not to get in people's business. You know, that's not how I grew up. I got my tray of stuff. I am going to my table. You know, if people needed help, I'd get it. But since there was 50 people around, I'm like, all right, bet they're fine. They're fine. So I'm driving with my tray, walking, driving my legs with my tray all the way to the table. Well, as I get about 15 feet, there's no wife. So I'm looking around with my tray.
You didn't hear me scream?
No. I'll tell you what, I'm on my business. I don't hear anything. No, I didn't.
Your name.
No, I didn't hear it.
At the top of my lungs.
I didn't hear it. I'm telling you, that's
Embarrassing.
not the neighborhood I grew up in. We mind our business in my neighborhood. But so I'm here, and I'm like, I think after I realized you weren't there, I heard. Is that my name? So I walk away with my tray, and I'm going toward her, and I'm coming through, and I hear it, and it gets louder, it gets louder, it gets louder, and I'm like, oh, and I said something else, but So we go through, and I'm cutting through the people, and there you are. You're laying down
on
the floor, and I remind you, I'm 23
years old.
I'm very analytical. So she's laying down on the floor, and I've got a tray of snacks. She's laying down on the floor, and she's got her arms out like this. So in an analytical mind, I didn't realize that, you know, when you have an anxiety attack, your hands kind of clench up sometimes. Being with me, I have no idea about that. All I know is my wife, my 23-year-old wife, is laying down on the floor in a bingo hall throwing up gang signs. Why are you throwing up gang signs in a bingo hall? You know? He's like, hey, what up?
I'm just gonna lay here.
I have your nachos. That's what's up. What are you doing?
Yeah, but
on the ground.
The woman who said she was a nurse and my stomach was turned inside out. She said,
right.
What'd she say?
I don't know. She said something inside of you was exploding. She was a nurse, and I'm like, whoa. So
I'm surprised I didn't pass out again.
I learned a little bit. So I'm like, I'm gonna sit down and say, you know, I sat my tray down, and I'm like, okay, she's okay, you know, because she told me this week, if this happens again, I need you to talk me through it. I need to breathe. I need you just to be there for me and not ask questions. So I'm sitting down, you know, I kneel down beside her and I say, okay, just breathe, let's breathe. And everybody is yelling at me, she's gonna die, somebody call an ambulance. I'm like, no, she's okay. This is, you know, I'm learning about this. She gave me very explicit instructions that I wrote down and I've studied.
They freaked me out.
They freaked, yes.
911. Her stomach, she said her intestines are turning inside out.
Yes. Yes, and yeah.
So then I sat up and started screaming, "Call 911!" And then they were like, "Her husband doesn't want to help her."
Her husband, no,
He's a jerk.
No, but you gave me. I'm very good at instructions, and her instructions were, "Talk me through it. Give me a minute. Let me breathe." So I'm like, "Everyone, let's just give her room to breathe." And then they start getting out their pitchforks and torches and like, "This guy, he doesn't love his no." You know, but that was the thing about it, is that the situation is different. You know, with everybody. Everybody has a different situation. That situation, she had already told me, hey, this is what I need. I need you to talk me through it. So we get going. We leave everything, because once you're in a place, and the reason why you were there is where? What did you feel you had to do in the middle of it that you told me? I remember this. I remember you told me you were sitting at the table. And
I was sitting at the table. I started feeling that anxiety coming over me, and I knew that I was going to pass out. So for some smart reason, I said, I need to go outside. So I got up and started running outside, which was a long way to get outside. And when I was running, I passed out as I was running and fell. And I guess everybody, the bingo players, all the old ladies seen me fall and pass out. My husband was oblivious because he had to get a Snicker bar.
Yeah, well, I'm not a doctor, but I'm thinking if you're going to pass out, don't go run and be by yourself. I don't know.
You don't think straight when you have anxiety.
I get that, but in the future, we take her to the hospital.
Actually, Dave, we didn't go to the hospital.
That day we didn't go to the hospital?
No, we didn't go to the hospital because they asked me, and when they came in, they were like, I really think your blood pressure is way high. You need to go to the hospital. I was like, no, I'm fine. This is, it's gonna go. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed, and I was just like, please just go away. And remember, because I drove my escort home that night, and I was like, you didn't know how to drive a stick, and so I had to drive.
I've never driven a stick. I've never driven a stick.
I tried to teach you.
That was fun.
Anyway, I had to drive, and I was full-blown anxiety attack, and we had the windows down. It was freezing cold outside. I can't believe I remember this for once, and you don't remember it. But yeah, I didn't go to the hospital that night. No hospital that night.
Yeah, like you said, I guess you're right. I mean, if that, I'm thinking about, sometimes I got events confused, but yeah.
We've gone to so many. I go to the emergency. I used to go, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I used to go to the emergency room probably once a week, and
going forward in the future weeks, that part of the story will be correct. But this first one, you're probably right. You probably did it. We probably did just make it home.
Yeah, no, this one I did. I drove home, and then the next day is when I started full bore freaking out for months on end.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I think the big thing is when we got home, there's always a thing about perspective in life and communication. It's perspective of the person going through and the perspective of, you know, the person in it, the relationship with it. So her perspective on that night when we got home from bingo, how were you feeling? I mean, what did you feel? What type of emotions did you feel?
I was scared. I was worried about what was going on. I thought I was dying. And I felt that nobody cared. And it was just not a big deal. But inside, it felt like a humongous deal. But to my husband, it seemed to be like, brush it off, you'll be fine. And in my heart and in my stomach and my gut, I knew like something wasn't right.
And a thing that I remember that you tell me this, that I like to add about how you were feeling, is that in all the things that a person with anxiety feels, you also get thrown on a big log of guilt. You know, you feel guilty that something happens. And anxiety, it's just a small little fire, and then you can do things to fuel it. You know, whether scenarioing or having, you know, people's statements. But sometimes you just feel guilty that, oh gosh, you know, you really wanted to be out with me that night, and it snowballs you worse,
Yeah.
to be honest.
You feel like you ruin plans or ruin anything, and it's just a part of the anxiety, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's part of, you know, our anxiety life, and that's the way it is. Perspective is very analytical. You know, I'm very 5 + 5 is 10. I'm a problem solver, and that sometimes early on caused more problems. You know, I try to think I'm solving problems, but actually I'm exacerbating the situation because I think I can fix it. If you tell me enough information, I can go put pieces of this puzzle together and fix it. And sometimes that's not, in that certain situation, isn't how it is. But I think the big thing going forward that we're trying to teach people is that after all these years, and we've messed up a lot, you know, so this is what we're trying to tell people is anxiety is like a foreign language. Anxiety speaks its own language. And when somebody with anxiety is speaking the language, it's hard for someone in a relationship at whatever level to understand it. And eventually you'll pick up words, you'll pick up phrases, you'll pick up things that, clues and things of what exactly these phrases mean. But it's very hard sometimes to understand the foreign language of anxiety. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of being clear on what both of you need in a relationship going forward. Anxiety isn't just verbally, it's physically. Anxiety is a physical language. You know, sometimes I can look at her eyes or the way she's holding herself or things like that anymore, and I can tell, okay, something's going on here, and it's all the clues that we hope.
Just having a fat day.
Just having a fat day, whatever that is. Yeah, it could, full anxiety. But everybody's different, and your trigger's going to be different than her triggers, or my triggers, or things like that. But what we hope to do, going forward, is to figure out exactly how we can communicate the foreign language of anxiety, and how you can improve your lives. And we're going to share with you each and every week on our Anxiety Life ways that we have found, and if it works for you, great. If it works in the way of you're going to be sitting at your kitchen table with the person that you love, and maybe you come up with your own way that works, that's great too. Talk about it in the way that benefits both of you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our channel. We really do appreciate you. And again, if you could please go below and hit the subscribe button, that would be great. Give us a thumbs up that you like this video, and please leave some comments. Let us know what you would like us to talk about. We have plenty to talk about, but if there's something important to you guys that you need help with, let us know.
And definitely put in, what was your first deal with anxiety? How you dealt with it, how the people around you dealt with it. Because the first step of recovery is communication. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.